Oh, good morning. Oh, okay. Oh, hey, Dana. Good morning. Wow. Okay. So it's going to be an interesting one today. So, but before that, good morning. Welcome to Mid Morning Medium Chat with Adam the Black Swamp Medium. Thank you for being here. Um, it's going to be an interesting show. um, I'm laughing because I'm trying to continue to wake myself up literally. Okay, Dana, sure thing. I mean, hey, good morning, Tom. We were, uh, hey, good morning, Margaret. You hit that right on the head. That would be a perfect way to segue that. I have, I'm almost, I'm getting close to finally being up for a little bit. So, uh, I literally woke up and had just been getting the show set up, pounding one coffee already, and uh and just yeah. So um but I mean, I'm gonna perk up. I'm doing my best right now, so you could see that that's happening. So I mean, but yeah, I mean, I haven't looked at anything. Literally, I just got the show lit up, found my background, and had to do a couple things. I was putting things away from last night. So yeah, I'm all over the place. So hey, what's up, Chad? Let's see. Yeah, good morning, Sharon. Yeah, so yeah, this is number two, and this is in short segment. So it's interesting. So hey, Tanya, good morning. Yeah, I don't know if I'll yawn right now because me pounding the coffee like I am. So we'll see. Because even then, I'm sure once I down this, I'll probably I'll be running back upstairs to get another one at some point, but not during the show, of course. Um, but yeah, super long. Now. I haven't had You know, I mean, I've had rough nights, but this is the first time being out truly this late in a long time. I mean, at least on purpose to some degree. I mean, excuse me, uh, I've been out a couple times, and like last year, finances weren't the best that they were, and so going to events, I pushed myself into hoping to get home. Well, I always did get home barely, but I couldn't afford hotels and things. So, anything that I could get to and then hopefully get back, that was always the goal. And yeah, it didn't. Last night was rough, and considering it's not that long of a drive, it's still yeah, it was bad. And all my typical techniques that I'm using to stay awake on the way home was not working because I was just still yawning and dozing off. So it was, it, you know, I mean, I knew I'd make it, and it was just going to be a struggle because I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, it was interesting. But yeah, we're gonna talk about that, which is why it's gonna be another. It's gonna be continuous thing of week two, kind of open discussion. But I've had some interesting things happen, and so there's a lot to really share, and it should cover the show. Besides, if you guys really have some burning questions, we can always talk about those too. But yeah, Margaret, yeah, big thermos. Well, it was funny because I was thinking about it as I was walking down the stairs at like 26 after, 27 after, as I'm looking now. And I'm like, well, it'd be great if I just get a line just to run right down. I could just fill it up. Hey, Kennedy, good morning. So yeah, it would have been fantastic to just be, just lean over, hit a valve, and coffee just dump into my cup because I could sure use it. So yeah, who knows? Typically I can never finish a coffee in front of you guys. Hey, Jeff. So because I got to talk, and so might be one of those that I may stop a little bit more frequently and get almost all of it finished before the end of the show. Who knows? Hey, Veronica. Yeah, I'm trying right now. I mean, this is a quick cup number two, because it was yeah. So anyway, manifest that right, Dana. Absolutely. Um, I honestly, yeah, it was. I mean, great night. I mean, you can't complain, and uh So let's just do this. I'm going to stay on the old mill and then I'll back up, what happened in the week because there's some other cool things that I want to share and I got permission to share one of them that I didn't have I didn't even I don't remember if I posted about it or not. Now I can't remember because I try to post every day, guys. You guys know that. But I can't remember if I think I did. I think I gave you a little snippet, but I don't think I told you any specifics. But I did get full permission to talk about it. So I am going to share that, which I think is what I'm going to do closer towards, when we're getting, more halfway through the show and stuff. Uh, but yeah, so last night we had another old mill, private team came out. And so, here it is week 2 in a row. So it's like, woo, and it's great to have that mill open, fully back open again. And so, our spirits absolutely were thrilled to, see obviously us again. We had a couple more team members that weren't there last week, but now they were here this week. So it was kind of really cool. Hey, Amy, good morning. And Debbie, good morning. You didn't get the notification. Debbie, that is, you got to go to the algorithms and stuff sometimes. It's that's why I always tell everybody, I said, if you I appreciate it. It's obviously, not one of those things that I'm in high that I would demand of any of you to do. But if you guys want to stay on top of what I'm doing, you've got to occasionally like some of my posts, even if it was to just like it and keep moving. That's cool. But to kind of keep that algorithm of where my stuff hits you. So like Debbie, it's possible maybe you haven't hit anything in a while. And so you were liking to, other things. And so that algorithm changes. So like I said, yeah, I mean, if and this goes with anybody else out there that you guys follow or any of your other friends and family, you have to occasionally do that. Unfortunately, that's just how it goes. And, if you keep occasionally hit a like maybe once a week on somebody, which is why I try to post a little bit more frequently. So there's something going on, even if I'm short about it, just to keep that moving so you guys can stay on top of it. But again, I'm not twisting any of your arms. By all means, you could just click and go, or you don't have to click at all. So, I mean, that's, completely up to you. And I'm not going to be one of those that hit you with the stick, that you haven't checked out a live or you haven't liked the post or something like that. I mean, it's all good. I mean, we all have lives to live. So, oh, well, thanks, Margaret. Yeah. I mean, it is so weird. And I can't even say that even for me that there's so many countless times that, I don't see anything either from like some of you that, occasionally post. And then the next thing I know, it's like, you can look at the, the timing on it and it's like 2 days later or 4 days later, it's like, well, that's weird. I mean, Christmas and New Year's were notorious. It was funny that in the middle of the week between Christmas and New Year's, I was seeing people wishing everybody a Merry Christmas. And I'm like, that was days ago. But then you look at the date, how many days ago that they posted it, and it was like on Christmas. And I'm like, so, that it's just how that goes. So yeah, I mean, I do appreciate it. Obviously, it's nice to have the support. But again, you're not going to hear me, giving you guys a hard time about that. I mean, this is about the limit you're going to get, which, obviously there's still a smile on my face. So, but I appreciate it as I think anybody that's out there, any support is great, and just to kind of keep doing what we're doing, I mean, I enjoy the hell out of all this stuff and, it's a life. It's a life, So, Debbie, this is the first time I always like your sunrises. Oh, cool, Deb. Yeah, like I said, Debbie, you never know how that works out, and you're not the first person that's ever mentioned it. It does pop up. I mean, like, people have missed it. I mean, I was on, this week with Tim Shaw Tuesday, which what we're going to highlight, and same thing. I mean, his lives don't always notify me that they're on, and a couple of the other shows, they don't hit me, even though I like stuff. It still just doesn't say they're live, or it's too much later, hours later, and I'm like, oh, they were live. I'm like, I didn't know So it's just one of those goofy things. You just have to, kind of put a mental note out there and just be like, okay, I know he's going to be on in the morning at some point. Yeah. Let's see, Margaret. Well, you know what they say, to err is human, but to really screw it up, need a computer. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's what are you going to do? Like I said, it's all good. And that's again, that's the only other thing I say is it's always going to be there to unless for some unknown reason that I have to take it down or whatever. But the videos are always there. So I mean, even if you can't watch it today, you could watch it later on, or you could watch it in the morning. So tomorrow. So I know, Timmy, it is. But yeah, so but going back to the hey Gary, good morning. But yeah, going back to the old mill last night. We I was fortunate enough to where our good, and I know I can say his name, he's not gonna get mad. Hey Mimi. Um appreciate that. It's there to kind of always uplift whenever I can do those, either whether it's sunrises, sunsets. It's always the fun thing of trying to share with everybody, because I mean sometimes you could be in a place that you're not experiencing that, and so this is the closest you can get. But so I love doing those. Let's see here, Veronica. Okay, click the live feed, there's a follow button and notification. Yes, Veronica, yeah, there is. And it's kind of why I tried to when I'm doing when I send out the notification of the show, I there's a way to click reminder on that too. Hey Jen, watching the show lets me clean and grip my meds, multitasking. No, Dana, I mean, hey, whatever people got to do, if they got the dishes going, I've had so many people say, they put their phone up on their tables or wherever they're eating their breakfast and everything, and so they just kind of have it sitting out in the distance. So I love that too, So hey, however it works, I am not going to complain. But yeah, no, so yeah, we're at the old mill. I had our good buddy Tim, had his surgery this week. Hey Dale. He had his surgery this week, and it was Wednesday. Highlight of that, he did really well. Everything went great. And hey Della, there was going to be a possibility, and look, there he is. Speaking of the devil, he was kind of a pain in the what, and for good reason too, because we all knew that he was going to be we knew he was going to be in the hospital for a while, and just because they had to be safe about a few things. And so but again, his surgery went fantastic, and he was always in good spirit. He was keeping in contact with all of us, and even I was reaching out to him privately about a bunch of things. So it was like, it wasn't even like he was even at the hospital. We were still talking about logistics and things. And so hey Mel. Woohoo! I love that. See, I was just talking about that, Mel, a few minutes ago. You're good, Della. Don't worry about it. This is, as always, this is just, let's just hang out. You know what I mean? Let's just have some fun. It's early. Some people sleep through it. Hey, my dad sleeps through the show sometimes. That's why you guys haven't seen him in a while. In fact, I know that right now he's actually on his way to a bowling tournament, so he's not watching it either. So he's missed like 3 weeks in a row now. So it's all good. We got to keep going on with life. It's the way it is. Chad, I watch on multiple platforms. So far, YouTube is always on time notification, but Facebook seems to be less glitchy when much. Yeah, it's a good point, Chad. Yeah, I never thought about, how much of a difference there'd be. But yeah, I used to, Della, I know we keep going off tangent, but this is why I want to always interact with you guys too. I used to, and then I hurt my shoulder real bad. And I just have been, and this was years ago, I hurt it real bad to where I basically kind of had to retire. And I haven't even attempted to throw a ball since, and it's got to be closer to 5 years already that I haven't even tried. And I am using that word for a purpose, and it is a good one, because the excuse factor is right, because I'm just nervous, but then again, you never know. It's not like, I don't have pain anymore, but I heard it real bad, and it was more of a freak thing than it was anything. So, but yeah, I mean, one of these days I might have to get out there and roll a couple games just to see how things feel again. So, so Dana, so we need to step in and help out with your dad's commentary, right? I know you. Anybody that knows my dad, you guys know he's in there with a billion of them. So, but that's just typically how he is, and he wants to be the jokester of the chat room. So that's how he is. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, my brother and my dad are on the same team, so same night and stuff. I mean, my dad actually bowls twice a week. He, he's an old man too, so he's in a senior citizen league. Hey, Nikki. But yeah. So yeah, yeah. I always appreciate you guys hanging out. But yeah. So Tim had, he's a rock star. Yeah. That's where some of my humor comes from. I mean, I would say, I've got my little style, but I certainly I do keep some of his and I'm going to say it like this. I do keep some of his memory alive, even though he's not gone, but I do keep some of the humor that he has done, which there is some good stuff. I mean, I will admit that live on a show. Now he's not going to probably watch this back, so I can say this without him. Hey, Ron. So I can actually say this. Because then he'll be calling me up and being like, he'll just have a field day, and then he'll just get this big, like, crown on top of his head and stuff. So then I got to watch out, So I got to be careful not to blow it up any more than it is. So let's see. Della saying, I'm sure with the updates, it's at the lady who's still here. Oh, you're fine, Della. Let's see, Debbie. Okay, I'll take the first. I'm here now. Adam, you can start the show. That's great. Perfect. Here, I don't do this as often, but I'll do this. There we go. Yeah, I'll even throw it up on the screen real quick. That's great. Debbie pays attention. I give her credit for that one. You can tell him, or I'll tell him. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, but Tim had his surgery and stuff. So he, last week gave me the key to the mill. Woo-hoo-hoo, I love that. And so I had the key to open it up because, again, he wasn't going to be coming home to this weekend. And so I, get into town, into Village of Dundee, get some dinner, eat the dinner, get inside, and it was about 6:30 or so. So I got there a little early, but it was kind of fun to get into the mill ahead of time. Plus, sometimes guests do show up, early, and you just never know sometimes. What do you think, right, Dan? And so I get in there, but what I should say is, so I'm sitting in the car. And I'm just about ready to turn the car off. And, when I roll up, it's evening. So, it's not as bright out yet. We're working on it. We're getting those longer evenings. And I'm sitting there now, there's manual switches for the lights, but there's also, when you leave them on Ron, there is a motion sensor for them. So it is kind of cool that, you don't have to go running through a buzz room, the meeting hall, for those that are familiar with it, looking for the switches. So I'm sitting there, and nobody's in there. The mill's closed up, locked. It's all dark, and I'm parked right next to the buzz room. And just as literally just about to hit turn the car off, the lights in the buzz room turn on, and I'm like, okay. Apparently they don't want me to walk into a dark room. So I'm like, okay, light is on for me. I appreciate that. All right, Jen, have a good one. So I walk, get all my stuff. I go into the buzz room, unlock it, get inside, and I'm just like, all right, how's it going in here? And, so I'm already like spiritually thanking them and stuff like that, and then I start going around, just making sure doors are, I'm getting everything opened up and things. And, just, it's cool. It's always fun to be by the, in the mill by yourself, there's nobody else around. And I did all that. And then I wanted to go turn on. I didn't want to like go down into the basement, but I just wanted to get the light on so it was ready. Hey, Jamie, good morning. So I go to the basement, open up the basement door. I reach and I hit the switch as soon as literally split second. As soon as I hit the light switch, I hear a female voice go, woo. I went, oh, sounds like it's going to be a good, evening for the guest. I'm going, basement's active. And I didn't even go down there yet. So I'm like, okay, all right, this is great, and so I do that. I turn on some of the hall lights, and then I backtrack to the buzz room because I obviously left it open, so I wanted to be there in case anybody walks in. So I go back to the buzz room, and then I started messaging the team. I'm telling them all what was happening so far, and getting a little bit of responses and stuff, but it was just like, yep, it's active. So, it should be good. And, I'm messaging. And then finally, like, I put my phone away and then I was, just kind of thinking about some stuff and thinking about the evening. And I get a tap on the wall. And, the whole time I'm there, which is, maybe 15, 20 minutes at this point, there's silence, and then I'm in that buzz room and sure you hear a knock on the wall. And of course, you got to double check it. But so then I said there, well, I said, I gave him, I said out loud instead of spiritually, I said, hey, thank you for, making the noise. I appreciate that. It was nice of you to turn the light on, tap instantly. And I went, okay, all right. I'm like, well, I appreciate you acknowledging my acknowledgement of you. And so it did that a couple times. So I had a little bit of a single knock response on specific questions or statements that I was making towards them. And it worked out great. So, I mean, it was like, yep, we're good to go. So, because not a lot of people investigate the buzz room because, it's just kind of that hangout place. But, it is the buzz room will have activity. So it is kind of interesting to sit there. And even when we're not participating or helping out with the guests that are there, we're sitting in there just talking about this, that, or we're quiet for a little while, we've all noticed things. We've heard disembodied voices and we have strange knocks. We've had lights that have flickered, like kind of like if we're laughing, the light will flicker, like it's trying to laugh with us and things. So, I mean, we've had so many various things that have happened in that buzz room. But it's always sporadic. It's never exactly how, like on point. It doesn't, happen on cue type of thing, but it is kind of fun when it does, pick up and things are going on. But we haven't seen too much like shadow figures and things in there, but EVPs, disembodied voices, EMF hits a lot. You get a little bit of everything when it's going. So, but let's see. All right, Veronica. Yep. I'm going to be on Zoom tonight, so you won't see me in person, but I will be in Zoom. So, but I will see you. So yes, it'll be great. Have a great day, yeah. So so that was great, and then Jen and Stacy show up, because they haven't been there this year, so they show up. So we're talking for a few minutes, and it was interesting was that or no, I'm sorry, Stacy didn't make it there yet, but Jen was just getting there. So Jen walks in and she sits down, putting her things down. We're talking for a minute. And then, but there was another car that was parked a little bit further down along the mill. And, no big deal because, couldn't tell who it was because the headlights were in her faces and stuff. So I didn't know. Sure. So we get there, we're sitting there and all of a sudden the door opens up. Okay. Whoever it is, kind of hear a high pitched voice being like, hello. And I'm like, hello, thinking it's like oh, Tim has seen a few in there. That's true, Tim. You've been in there the most. We kind of hear this like female voice, and then it rounds the corner through the doorway there, and it's Tim. And at first, I'm sitting there going, "Did he die?" And I mean, I'm literally thinking, "Did he die?" And nobody knows what happened because like. He wasn't supposed to be there. That was the point of me having the key. So he literally like, what the hell are you doing? And he's busting up laughing as he's walking towards us. And he's like, yeah, I got out this morning. They discharged me this morning. I'm doing great. And I'm like, well, it's nice of you to tell us. He goes, well, this was the better option, in a way was to just show up because I was during the day, we were having some messages with the team. And I kept joking. I'm like, Beth, his wife, Beth, I'm like, Beth, you should, leave his ass behind. You can, show up and be there and not have to deal with him, for a change. So we were just like, come hang out. But there was a couple times she said some stuff that I was like, that seems off of her to say it like that. But I'm like, okay, whatever. I mean, it's been a week for her too, so. But yeah, Tim came in, we were talking, catching up with him obviously. And, it was fun it was great, and he didn't stay long. I mean, he stayed for a few hours and things like that, but it's hard. The mill is one of those places that you can't be away too long before you get called back. And obviously that the same thing. Besides the rest of us, I know Tim really wanted to see, myself and Jen and Stacy. I mean, the mill's the mill, but you know, no, truthfully, yeah, the mill is one of those places that you do fall in love with it, and I've told the story, a bunch of times, but the first year I was ever there was in 2012, in April of 2012. And then I showed up 4 more additional times that year just to show you how much that I love this place. And, it really has been one of those that I'm, blessed that I have the opportunity to, one, I got on the team, which was, hard enough, but then, yeah, right, Jill. But to uh have the opportunity, to join the team, but then be able to be there to where we're still hosting. I mean, granted, they started hosting the year before I even met the guys and gals, but it's just been it truly has been a home away from home. And sometimes we're there where we just hang out in the buzz room, we do the tour, we come back, we sit in the buzz room, we don't even investigate. It's just nice to be within the walls of the old mill. And hopefully, if some of you have never been there, you definitely got to come out. We are going to start planning, now that the basement's open, we are going to start planning some Publix. We'll wait for some warmer weather, obviously, but we definitely want to get some Publix investigations, scheduled. That way, if anybody's interested, you can come on out. The numbers are still going to be low, so it's not like you're really going to be tripping over a lot of people or have to worry about a lot of contamination. You still is always that possibility. You always get some crazies and stuff that show up that, but that's, it is what it is. But yeah, so we're gonna be trying to just keep marching ahead with that stuff. And so, but then just to highlight, the team that came out, we had a great time on the tour. Gave them the full tour, and then we got to the point where we, let them. They were doing their thing. They did great. They had a lot of activity all over the place. I mean, they spent. Holy smokes! I think they spent. May I didn't really see the exact start time, but I want to say they almost spent 2 hours just in the banquet hall alone because they were having so much great activity. A lot of the classic stuff that we, experience and see. So they spent a long time in the hall, which was great, but they were enjoying it. So they got to the rest, and then they invited the 3 of us, because Tim was gone at this point, but they invited Stacy, Jen, and myself to go with them in the basement as their final stop of the evening. And it was a little slow at first. Not a whole lot was going on. And then we moved into the one room where we have the setup for Nevea, which is interesting because I want to share this information with you guys. Margaret, hold that thought. In fact, let me hit this real quick. Debbie, you are correct. Yeah, large groups. I mean, because of the mill, we've always kept it that way. 15 was usually the max that we would do for Publix. It just works out because even when you spread out, you can get pretty much people in different corners and really not have to worry as much, because there is so many areas to go. You can't, from the outside of the mill, it never looks that big until you get inside and realize how much space there is in the end. So we still try to keep it, at 15 for, the or Publix, excuse me. So the only time we've ever had more than that has been at our Parafest, but we're not really, with COVID and everything, we never did we had to kind of stop doing the ghost hunts at the end of the night. And those were getting like, 20 some, we'd have 4 groups of like 20-ish people. So you can imagine how chaotic that is. But yeah, so we got down there, we went into the room, into the one next room, which is where we have a small little kids table set up, and typically where Nevea, Marie hang out. And so Jen even got it all fixed up because things were moved, when they were cleaning the basement and things, and so things were kind of like all in disarray. So Jen did a great job of getting it all back together again. So we set up, and Jen's got a cool thing, and I don't remember like who does it, so don't ask me, or who makes it, I should say, but she's got one of these rope EMF lights, so it's kind of cool because it'll, the harder they hold on to one of the lights, they'll change different colors. But there's always an ambient light that's on, but it's cool because it's like a rope light. And So we put it up around the kids table, and lo and behold, it was within seconds that both Nevaeh and Marie show up. I mean, Marie was already, holding on to me just being in the basement, but Nevaeh came up real quickly, and so uh, we they were hanging out. Now, something interesting, and for those that don't know the full story of Nevaeh, but she was, and by the way, it's 1001. So here, gotta do that real quick. Um, uh, February 3rd, which, was last night or yesterday, um, was Nevaeh's birthday. Um, Beth realized that we just didn't even think about it. But February 3rd was the day she was born. And if she was to still be alive, she would have been 19 years old. Just to show you, because she was, murdered when she was 5. So it's been a number of years. So Jen stopped by and got cupcakes and wanted to get balloons, but apparently that's a whole debacle in situation. So anybody that's looking to get balloons, apparently in multiple locations, you have to call ahead of time to pre-order whatever balloon or balloons that you want. Because it's become a real pain, and for some reason, helium issues, and so if you're looking to get balloons, if you're not got your own little tank at home to do it yourself, make sure that you wherever you're going, double check ahead of time to make sure that you don't have to order something before you get there. So Jen couldn't get any balloons because we wanted a happy birthday, and they wouldn't do it. So strange. Anyway, so we had the cupcakes there, and we were, all of us were trying to ask specific questions. Hey, Jeremy. uh yeah, man, it is. Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, hey, it's always cool. I mean, it's always, even just going by it like that. Sometimes it's cool to have that opportunity. But yeah, I mean, we get the public set, but if you ever want to, trying to get on one of those, by all means, we'd love to have you. Um, so asking a lot of stuff, we were getting responses, and then we were, trying to have fun with Bob, who's our other, character, and he's in his 50s and things, so he's kind of got that attitude for those that don't, know him. And we were trying to poke at him in a really fun way, just to get him to, you know, do things and grab this, and we were busting up, and Marie and Nevaeh were just having a great time laughing at our expense, at us trying to pick on Bob a little bit. And again, it was done in good taste, which, like you would do with anybody. You want to pick on somebody a little bit, excuse me, and you just want to get a little rouse out of them, just to get the reaction, So, and we got reactions from Bob, no doubt about it. We all were having a fun time and laughing. But um that's cool. Yeah, Margaret. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely want to wait until it's warmer out, because that basement was 52 degrees. So it wasn't the longest investigation last night, but it certainly it was definitely shorter than normal, because yeah, it was 52. So it was brutal in there. Um but so yeah, we were doing that, and then we were getting, everybody's getting tired, plus we're starting to get really cold. And we sang happy birthday to Nevaeh, and it was really really touching, really beautiful, because um you know the lights hit, especially, like, when we started, and then the lights, they did nothing during the whole happy birthday song, and then at the end, there was lights. So there was one particular light right where the cupcakes were, and she lit it up, when we were done. So it was that thank you. So that was touching and awesome to experience. And so that's, oh, okay, yeah, there you go. Wow. Yeah. And so yeah, I mean, that was really cool to be there, and how amazing to be there on her actual birthday and stuff. So I mean, it was perfect to be there, because you can't always time out certain dates and things like that, but somehow that one worked out. So it was meant to be in multiple ways: one, the team to be there, but two, to be on her actual birthday. It was special. So yeah. uh so we're past 10, so I'm going to kind of burn through a couple of the other things real quickly, because there's one thing I want to finish up on and share with you guys. Now, last Sunday, Monday, I was I still can't to this day figure it out because I really didn't have anything overly I really didn't have any problems going on that were really profound or, nothing out of the ordinary. So I mean, Sunday, especially Sunday and into Monday a little bit, I was dealing with the, anxiety. So I'm not going to bore you guys with that, the but it was just odd because, typically for me, it's what happens the day before, unless it's something so dramatic the day of. But usually for me, anxiety, it's like a 24-hour thing. It's like something stressful happens. I'm like, oh man, I'm probably going to feel this tomorrow. And, but Saturday, there really wasn't anything that happened, even Friday. So I backed up a couple days. I still couldn't. And, who knows exactly for it, what it was, but it has happened a few times where I just don't know. I mean, I try because when you can understand what the situation was, you can approach that in a different way when it happens again. So that way you don't, you're not as affected. And like for me, it's always chest pains, which then I get pretty lethargic and tired. Hey, Betsy. And so, those were, of course they suck. I mean, anybody that's really dealt with like legit, anxiety, panic attacks, they're not fun. And, I wouldn't wish it on anybody because it takes me down, sometimes when they're bad. But so, it got me going into the week, the beginning of the week. It was like, oh man, here it is, a couple days of this. And it's like, Monday wasn't as bad, but it was there. And it's just like, okay, but like I tell you guys all the time, you can't let it overpower you to where, you're just going to be, I'll go to work, I'll come home and I'm just going to sit on the couch. I'm going to veg. I'm not going to do anything, Oh yeah, Betsy. Yeah, I hate that. And so, it's always, let's just keep moving, keep doing what the next thing is. No, you're good, Kate. No worries. I, I got to get up the next day and you got to keep moving forward. You can't dwell in it because the longer you dwell in it, the longer it sits around. We talked about this before. So, I believe it was Tuesday that, I was trying to make the best of the day. Yeah, I didn't realize that I was going on with me Monday and Tuesday, but then realized that Wednesday was right, Jamie. So Jamie, see, even then there is that possibility of what builds up to something. Now, when we get to, because I'm going to be sharing stuff with my that's Jamie's my cousin's wife, and we're going to be sharing something really important with her and her family. Yeah, and I wouldn't have put that as what was leading up for me. That would be a pretty long stretch, to say the least. So, but yes, Jamie, I would say without a doubt, that's a good possibility that we're getting ready for what's happening. So, I again really fast because I want to get to my cousin Joe and Jamie's story. I had to run to another building, and it was cold, but it wasn't doing anything. So I, walking down sidewalks, keeping myself safe because some of the parking lots they don't use. So they just don't plow them or salt them and stuff. So I'm running over. I get this other building, ended up really didn't do anything, which sucked. So I'm walking back, and this isn't a typical building for us. I'm walking back. Well, I thought, well, I'm going to cut, through an unplowed, unsalted parking lot. Because I just, I wanted to get back right away. And so as soon as I start cutting into this parking lot, and I, if you guys missed that photo, go back to, beginning of this week and you guys can see it. I'm in the middle of this parking lot. Now, bad part is there was a thin layer of snow on top of it. And underneath it was a very thick, smooth, thing of ice everywhere. I mean, every single step, I was just like, whoa, whoa. It didn't matter. I just couldn't, and I'm like, I was like, oh my God. And I finally had to like walk like a penguin kind of thing, I'm like just barely like, because you take any amount of half step, you were losing your balance. It was that crazy. So I got to that middle of the parking lot, and then all of a sudden something catches my eye, and I look over and I see this, deer that was, going through the parking lot. Now this is like 9:30, this is, basically mid-morning, and, obviously I'm struggling a little bit. So, so I'm making commotion myself, just wobbling, well, it was a doe and, a female deer, and it stops in the middle of the parking lot and it's looking at me and I'm looking at it. Now, there's a good, 50, 75 feet between us type of thing. So there's distance. So, there's no true fear, but obviously she sees movement. I see movement. So we're locked on each other. So I'm looking at her, and sure enough, um, yeah, Debbie, let me tell you. Right. Yeah, exactly. Um, so, we lock on, and then, I was like, okay, cool. I'm like, well, I spiritually, I'm kind of like, hey, how are you? Good to see you, you just try to be friendly with, the animal world. And so I said, gave her hello, hope you stay warm type of thing. So I start waddling again, and I start waddling, and then I see her start to move. And I had to stop again and look at her, because at this point, when she was continuing on, because obviously I was no threat, and I gave her, some love, and her right back leg was not fully functioning. And you can tell she wasn't putting the full amount of weight on it. She was putting some on it, but I of course, I like I said, I stopped, and I'm watching her, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And I see her struggling, but I see her still moving on. And so everything that I was dealing with the last couple days, from that moment, that puts things into perspective, is that, deer are, and I posted about it, deer are very resilient. I mean, they can take a hit and they still keep going. And for whatever happened with her, maybe she slipped on ice herself, and maybe she's got a, sore hip or something, or a sore leg. But she kept going, and it kind of, filled me up with, encouragement, and just knowing that if she can keep doing her thing and keep being able to survive, I certainly can do that. So that was clearly a message coming back to me. And so it was that amazing thing. And so I immediately shifted modes, completely said, I gave her more love. And then I was shooting her healing, because that message to me fuels me, and I can only repay the favor by giving her something to help her out then. So that was a really cool moment to just kind of be there. But that's when you are aware of what's happening, and you see these things and realize how it ties into what your life is going on. It made a huge moment, and things from that point on started picking back up for me. So, that's why every day I said, if you have a rough day or whatever, you got to push through it, because then that's the next thing, it just starts lifting you. And like I said, it started changing my week around, almost immediately. And so that's, super cool. You can waddle like a duck. The most important question is, can you quack like a duck? Whoa, whoa. Yeah, I know that does take me back to, oh boy. um, so yeah, so that was really, really cool. Must be your turn. Well, Tim can hang in there. He can certainly pull off my dad on jokes. Um, so yeah, so again, it finally shifted. And again, that's just that attitude of like, I'm going to get through whatever's going on, even if I'm not totally sure of what's happening, why I was dealing with it, the anxiety. I don't care about that anymore, because if I don't know what it is, you really have to move on. It's what's done's done. Now we're moving forward. So, um, I hopefully can get through this, with the last, if we may go over just a few extra minutes and stuff, because there is probably with, I'm going to try, but I'm going to just say right now, there is probably, I'm probably going to lose it on camera. So I may have to stop a few times to get through the rest of the story to kind of wrap up the show. Because it's, even just starting to think about it, it's already getting me choked up. So, and it's going to kill Jamie, because, again, this is, for her and, my cousin Joe, her husband. They gave me permission to talk about it, which is why I keep, referring to them and stuff. And so, Wednesday, was and I'm going to try to say this as like nicely as possible. And, because, it's profound, and you guys will understand, why I'm even like tripping over my words a lot more than usual. So Wednesday marked, an anniversary, but more of a birthday, which, they're really together. And the unfortunate part is, we uh they see, like I said, I mean, it's, that's the cool, one good thing is, we're family. So that's why I think it hits me a little bit more, because, you can't, family's family. So, you do your best to, support them through it all. Um, They, unfortunately had, to the point where, and I don't remember, maybe Jamie can, put in there real quickly, um, almost full term, they had a stillborn, and it was getting close to full term, as far as I remember, and, obviously for, you know, anybody that, wants, uh, obviously wants to have kids, wants to have a family and stuff like that. And then to have something that everything was going so smoothly and then something changes, Um, and so it was, everybody was excited. And so, yeah. Oh, she came too early. Well, yeah. Sorry. Um, the, j- you know, it just is, it's shocking. I mean, I think anybody that's ever known somebody to experience it or had something like that, it just is one of those unfortunate things. And so, um, so it would have been her birthday, Wednesday, and that morning, I was sitting at the desk. I didn't have a whole lot going on at that moment and stuff. She lived for an hour, and then we were able to hold her, but Joe almost lost me too. Yep. Um, we I just kept getting, you know, I kept getting overwhelmed. And normally when I'm at work, it's always been a no-no to tap into things or to connect with things. And just because I'm at work and I'm on call the whole time I'm on shift, so I can uh truly, get called at any split second to go somewhere. So that's why I just, now during the pandemic, there was a few times I was able to do some like little teeny tiny mini readings and things. But I just kept getting this overwhelmed feeling that, I need to bring her in. And uh see. Oh man. And her name was Julia. And um I thought, I'm just gonna, I keep getting pulled to do this. I'm like, I really, she's obviously knocking at my door to do this. So I said, I'm just gonna take a chance at it and hope that, nothing happens. Hopefully everything is cool in my work day job world. And so I, uh, just because it could tell she was knocking and it was just like, let's do this. And so I'm like, okay, let's go. So I open up and, she just, pops in really quickly, and so I'm just like, here we go. And one thing was is last time I connected with her was pretty much a year, well, almost a year ago. The spring would have been a year. And she's taken upon herself to kind of change her look a little bit. So she's kind of aged, which was neat because she, obviously was, a tiny little baby. But she's kind of grown in size a little bit more. She really wanted to have the opportunity to be able to move about on her feet, so to speak, even though we're in spiritual form. She really wanted to have that look. So, um, I was just, I was trying to type out messages as they were happening, not live, but I was creating a whole message for them. So that way, when I sent it, they could read everything at once. And so I get all the messages done, or, so I'm typing out the message. I'm describing what she's, how she's looking now and stuff. And I kept, revealing certain, you know, information. Um, and I'm not going to get these in order and stuff like that, but obviously, a lot of times our loved ones always always want us always to know that, they love us. And, so she, was giving big, hugs and kisses, sending them both love, saying both of their names, mom and dad. And so, that's always special. I know some people might be like, oh, that, well, I mean, you could see the emotion, for me, you can see the visual of it. You can feel that. So it's not like it's just a given. There is no given. But when you see the reaction that they're doing and who they're pointing it towards, you still got to say it. I mean, yes, we know they love us, but it's just that visual for me because it's like that's profound, to see that. So, and at this point, as some of this is going along, I'm starting to have trouble typing because I'm starting to shake. It's starting to build, get to me where I'm starting to break down a little bit, and I'm sitting there thinking, occasionally people are walking by and I'm like, I'm trying to keep my head down low. And so some of the messages that were popping up, of course, sometimes they're strange, but sometimes they have true meaning to it. And I remember, and I'm going to kind of tie things in a little bit. So I know one of the again, I don't remember them in exact order. I mean, I could go to the message and read it, but there was one thing she kept showing me, like this green stick like thing. I wasn't sure. And when I see a visual, I try to provide a couple ideas of what it might be, because if that's all I see, it's all I see. So I try to help whoever, my clients and stuff, of like, maybe it's this or maybe it's this, just to kind of help, because obviously when you're sitting in front of somebody, even though we weren't, sometimes you're so overwhelmed with the reading that you just aren't thinking about all the little stuff that it could be. So later on, like I said, I'm just going to tie in some of it. Later on, my cousin Joe, said, I wonder if it was this. And he sends a picture. He was drinking out of a cup last night that was all green. And I'm like, well, it definitely kind of has a stick look to it, and it was green. So more than likely she was, because he said he was using that cup the night before, you know, at home. So very well could have certainly been that, obviously it could be other things, but he had to think about it because it didn't make sense. And Jamie, Joe, luckily didn't have to worry about customers at that point. And Jamie was, she's a teacher, so she was already dealing with, she's had her hands full. So, but so Joe had time to think about it. So this was late, maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, or something, after I sent the big message that, or something to that nature, that's when Joe was just like, hey, I think I know what this is, So, and another one that was really neat, and this is kind of cool, is that she kept showing me marbles, and I kept seeing her play with marbles on the floor. And so I said, do you guys have marbles out? Is there marbles laying around and stuff like that? And, eventually, again, I'm just kind of fast forwarding. They're like, yeah, we got some marbles and stuff like that. And then later on, when Jamie finally had a chance to read it, which was on her lunch, she said, well, we have Mancala out, and so, Mancala, if you guys know that's, there's usually kind of like gemstones that you're putting around a tray. There's it's a cool game if you've never tried it before. Yeah, we were still talking about Julia while we were just drinking out of that big creek. Oh, that's even better. See, I didn't know that. There's something I didn't know. Okay. And so I said, well, it certainly could be. I mean, because obviously, when I saw the marbles, I mean, they were rolling like a classic, ball, but it, they're clear, relatively. So, I mean, it certainly could, but I kept seeing her, on the ground playing with the, stuff like that. And, so I just, said, hey, well, I mean, I said, even if you don't, I mean, could you at least put some out? And I said, Julie doesn't want the dogs to get them, so don't put them down low enough to where the dogs will eat them and stuff, because obviously that wouldn't be good either. So, keep them up out of the way. So fast forward, Jamie was thinking about it, because I think Jamie, if I'm not mistaken, this was Thursday then. Jamie hits me up, and she's talking about an incident that happened at school in her classroom. And basically, there was a game set up, had marbles and things, and so it's been there the whole year. And again, I'm just kind of speeding through it a little bit. And and so there was, kids can play it, but they got to put it back, that sort of thing. But it's been in this particular place. Nobody's ever bumped into it, touched it. Well, sure enough, one kid accidentally hit it, and marbles went everywhere, like truly rolling all over the place. And so, which was weird, because again, that, she's now thinking about, okay, now I got marbles everywhere. So now she's tying it into stuff. Now she said, nobody's ever bumped into this before. Nobody's gotten near it other than to use it to play with, And so kept thinking, well, I mean, Julia was talking about marbles and stuff. So is the possibility that Julia helped create this moment of she's still with her, or she is with her at that point? I used the whole class reward system. That's what it was. Yep. He bumped the desk, which is a huge and very heavy desk. and and everybody's trying to help pick them up, and so she's still wondering if they're still missing. But I said, well, Julia might help you find any of them that didn't get found. But so you can see how sometimes these messages aren't always necessary right then or about something in the past. They can be something that's coming up. And so this certainly could have been one of those moments. And that has happened in a lot of my readings. You do have moments of kind of like, I mean, I do say I'm a psychic medium. So there is psychic part of it is talking about what's coming up down the road. So sure enough, you know, could this been a prelude to, the whole marble incident? You know, it certainly ties in, and it's hard to say it's not, but it is very interesting to see how that works out. Couple other cool messages that Julia wanted. She was really wanting to have something up on the fridge, and obviously, as kids, when we grow up, and all as parents that have had kids, you always have horrible drawings and stuff like that, and you put them up on your fridge and stuff like that. But Julia really wanted a classic heart with her initial in the middle of it. She kept wanting her mom, Jamie, to do that. So I said, hey, can you do that? Can you put this up there? I think she helped. It's just right. Well, yeah, she certainly helped. I mean, that have um and so later, Wednesday night, she put she sent me a photo because I said she got to draw it, but she went a little bit further and yeah, that's a family art gallery. That is true, Margaret. um and so, she showed me what she did, but she got like even more creative with it. So I'm like, wow, so that's even better. I'm sitting there just like, here, just get a pencil or pen and just draw it, and she did great. So she put that up in the fridge, and I said, yeah, you just got to have it up there for a few days. Cause it does kind of help with the memory thing, which is, not like something they're ever going to forget anyway, but it's just that kind of highlighting moment. Some people, I see people occasionally, like they celebrate their birthday week or they celebrate their birthday month and stuff. And so I think Julia just wanted her name up there. And I know Jamie and Joe were telling me too. They said the last couple of years have been a little bit rougher around this time. They haven't been able to do as much, to really, keep her memory going. And so here, Julia was just like kind of throwing little tidbits back out there to kind of push that. And so, um, Julia gave me a point where she's like, is there a chance that you guys can get a single candle? I wasn't even thinking of like just something that, as a birthday candle. Can you put that out there? I said, when you light it, step back away from it. I said, she's going to try to blow it out. So you should see that, the flame move, I kept fixing that heart with the J, and I could hear her say, Mom, it's fine. Just look great while I was working that. Right. Yeah. Yeah, she was simple about it. You went way better than this. There's no doubt she was doing that, or saying that to you. But so, what Jamie said, she goes, well, I'm just going to get cupcakes on the way home, So she ended to do that. She got some cupcakes, and she, they sang to her, and my aunt, my cousin's mom, came, everybody sang. And my aunt brought, flowers over her Rose because her middle name was Rose. So, they really did a great service, however you want to look at it, a great, heartfelt moment of doing that. And you know, you got to remember all this whole time, and granted, that's why it's helped me get through the story a little bit easier. So that's why I've been jumping and sharing the other the validations and things back and stuff, and you know, kept me from breaking down, because I was pretty sure I was going to break down. And I've choked up enough already. So, but and there was a couple other neat little moments. I know one of the messages too was, Jamie and Joe both have two other kids, and I mean, they're much, they're getting older, especially their oldest is, he's in high school and stuff. So, so he's really up there. But, Julia really wanted to be a part of them, wanted to be there with the siblings. And so, she did ask, and whether it happens or not, she did want to be able to sit and have both of her kids kind of read a kid's book. And Julia was going to sit there, hopefully in between them, so that way she can just be a part of it, and still feel like she's got siblings, that are thinking about her, caring for her, that sort of thing. So, we always have cupcakes or brownies for her birthday and then go out to dinner. Yeah, that's awesome. Izzy is our rainbow baby, and I think she helped pick out Izzy for us. Right. Right. Yeah. Izzy's her youngest. Um, so uh yeah, and like I said, it was that was tough. I mean, it was impromptu too, for a lot of this to come up. And I don't know if I was missing any other messages, Jamie. So I mean, I hate to try to like, I mean, we're ready at 10:30. So um uh I guess I can really quickly run back to it. Um uh just to see real fast. Let's see. Oh, uh here's a great message. And I say this and we'll wrap up. Um One message too that I just remembered. She, I kept, Julia showed me bowling. Funny, we're gonna go back to bowling again, but she kept showing me bowling, and I was like, I mean, I know my cousin bowls. I mean, I don't, I have no idea what day of the week he bowls. I mean, I know he bowls occasionally. He'll post a photo or something like that. Good game, or teammates doing really well or something like that. But I I don't know. I don't pay attention. It's and so I kept saying, bowling, and then I was like, and then I saw an image of my cousin, and I saw the pins falling down, and I'm like, oh, okay. So she wants her dad to, throw a strike for her. So I'm like, hey, Joe, I said, are you bowling anytime soon this week? And uh I'm like, are you bowling, soon? Because I said Julia wants you to throw a strike for her, which, I mean, if you're not the worst bull in the world and you can get close to the pocket, you should be able to, at some point in 3 games get a strike. But it's the significance of it that when you do that, there's that connection, you know, um, because not only was she going to, cheer her dad on, she was going to be sitting there right where the ball return is, jumping up and down. Um, so her showing that to me was like, holy smokes. Well, then Joe comes, he goes, dude, he goes, I bowled tonight. he, he goes, boy, if I'm going to get that strike, I'm going to have everybody's going to be wondering why I'm crying. And so, and I believe it, yeah. And so Jay say bowling too. He said he did have a few strikes for her. Yeah. So, and again, being that it was, her birthday, and then, to be able to do that, it may seem trivia to some people, but again, it just shows that, you know, she's with them, and they can go with anybody. It doesn't have to be a child per se, but it can obviously be any loved ones that have been around that they want to hang out with you. And so, uh, sorry, I was just looking at a few other things. Oh, yeah. Well, and I'll share one more other little neat thing, which I already kind of mentioned, but I forgot that there was a little bit of a tie into it. Hey, Bonnie. But yeah, it's so neat that you have these little things, and it wasn't a ton of messages, but it was really cool. And I have talked about Jamie's dad passing away, and he, I did a reading for them, for the family, and he came through really strong. And so I did ask Julie, I'm like, hey, you're going to be with grandpa today? And she's like, Grant, I'm giving you guys like the full sentence version of it, but she was showing me images, but I'm just saying it so you guys can understand. But she's like, yeah, he's going to be taking me to basically a park, but he's going to be putting her up on top of the shoulders. And I just, there you go, guys. um, you just missed an angel feather that was flying through. So it flew through and went behind the camera. So there's validation for you. Oh, okay, cool, Sharon. Yep. She so she's like, yeah, he's gonna be putting me literally on top of his shoulders, and they're gonna be walking in this park that's gonna have full of flowers. And it was so neat because then that was the part of where my aunt, brought flowers over there. So they were giving her. So that is kind of cool because even from my perspective, that does this tie in though. Hey, Brandy, there's that tie there. So she's showing me that she's going to be with grandpa. She's going to be in this field. There's going to be all these flowers, pretty flowers everywhere. And they're just going to be hanging out, and he's just going to be there, and then, obviously my aunt's bringing flowers over for her, for her to celebrate and stuff. So that's really neat to kind of have that tie-in, and it was cool because like, yeah, because I was curious too, whether she was going to hang out with them or if she's just going to stay with, mom and dad type of thing. And because I thought, I'm going to ask. I mean, you might as well see what she said. And so she's like, yeah. So, but it was just so neat to see her literally on top of it. Was it a piggyback, right? I mean, it was like a full, she's sitting on top of his neck, and they were going to be walking through, the park and stuff. So, really cool image, and just, smiles and love. And so, like I said, she totally gave that stuff off. Now I wasn't asking him anything. She was just showing me what was going to be happening. So I wasn't talking to him or be able to get any information from him, but I was really focused on Julia just because that was her day. So yeah, it was neat to have that and it happened at work, and I'm, hurting, I mean, I was dying, and it was weird because I'm like, I got to clear my eyes up because I mean, even afterwards, there's a few little comments because Joe was able to respond right away. So I'm talking to him a little bit, and I'm like, I got to get up and walk because I got to, I got to clear this up because if I get called now to walk in a room, they're going to think something's wrong. So, and yeah, and Jamie saying her dad loved birthdays, and he definitely would have been carrying her that way. He did that there you go. So see, I didn't know that either. But yeah, it that was rough, and every time I thought about it more, or going over the message again, as they happened, and re-seeing them for myself. I mean, it took a couple hours for me to finally be cool and calm and not have bloodshot eyes, because it's just like I looked terrible. So so I was grateful that we didn't have any other additional work because I would have been in trouble. But so yeah, that was definitely, was a huge highlight of the week. And again, you could see how it ramped up. I mean, dealt with some anxiety, then I had the messages from the deer, and then had this on Wednesday. And then obviously we had a good time last night at the mill. So, you know, it's just one of those things. And I just always can't stress with all of you enough is that, we all go through tough times, but just always know there's always going to be something. And it's not a cliche statement or comment. If you push that attitude, that you push that intention, that things are going to get better, and you really mean it, they will. And this was a classic week, because I kind of thought about it, on Tuesday. I was thinking before the deer, am I going to be dealing with this all week? Am I going to struggle all week? And it's just going to be fighting it, going to have that fist up, and I'm going to be having to sit there and fight this week through. I'm not going to give up. I'm just going to keep doing it. But that's the beauty of it, that you can shift yourself so sometimes quickly. I mean, it did. I mean, it basically went fast. And had this great reading, which was not planned, it was not scheduled, it was completely off the cuff, and it everything fit perfectly. It happened because it was supposed to. And that's the neat thing about it, is having those moments whenever they are, and be ready for them, be aware of them, and it's tough because if you're not used to this stuff, and I'm not saying anybody here, is mediums and stuff or wants to be mediums, but it's just life in general, just being aware of all your situations. So that way you can get them, use them, change things that may need to be changed, and then keep going and live your life, be on your path of whatever that is. So, yeah, this was, as much as I thought it was going to be a horrible week, it's turned into a really good week. And I just, can't, be more happier. I mean, I'm tired as all get out right now for not literally getting into bed past 4 a.m. So that's already, getting me. So, but that's okay. I was not going to really, I mean, I think if I was feeling really bad besides tired, then I might not have been on this morning, but I'll deal with the, being a little tired and stuff. And, it's all good. So, things do get better. Sometimes we do have to find a rainbow after the storm. There's always something good to find in the tough times. Yeah, Jamie. Yep, absolutely. And, and that's why I do my photos. That's why I try to find scenic pics. You guys might be seeing the same skylines and stuff like that, but sometimes there's just that one photo that might trigger somebody to get them to feel a little bit better about something, whether they're having a rough day or they're not seeing the same thing because they're in a different part, that can't see that. And so, the images, like we all know, images can speak 1,000 words. So, if I can do something like that where it's just a photo that can react, or send a couple words, in a post that might help you out through the day, I'm going to keep doing that. And I'm not going to give up on that, because it means too much, and it could truly help one person that catches it at that point, that was meant to be. So, but we are now 10 minutes past the point. So we've been going an hour and 10 minutes worth of a show, but it was worth it, in my opinion, to extend it. And I did kind of warn, I thought I was going to go a little bit longer. So, but yeah, I really appreciated it. Thank you to Jamie and Joe for letting me share the story. I always feel weird about it, because I mean, it was more personal, but they were willing to let me share that with you guys. And again, just to show that what it does for people when you have these moments, or especially something like this, you know it's just super cool that we can all like relate in some way, or at least feel that, feel that love and stuff, and see how great things are still. Yes, we don't have certain people with us, but we know they're there, and they're still watching us, and they're still giving us cool information. They're still showing us love. And so it's just amazing to have that happen. So, yep. Thanks, Tim. Glad to have seen you last night. I'll definitely get your keys back to you, at some point. It is nice to hold on to 'em. Tanya, have a great day. Jill, images are often more powerful than truthful than words. Yeah, Jill, absolutely. Totally agree. And you're welcome, Jamie. Love you. Love you guys. Have a great weekend. So yeah, I'm gonna get out of here, since it's been a little extra, and but it was worth it. So Nikki, have a great weekend. Thank you. Sharon, have a great weekend. Swippy Mouse, that's true. That's true. A couple weeks. Our Christmas party, for our team is finally gonna happen. So, but thanks for hanging in there, guys. I know some of you probably didn't expect to go this long, but I'm glad you guys got to hear a little bit of this this one powerful moment this week with Jamie's daughter Julia. So have a great day, have a great weekend, stay warm. There is a warm up happening, so for a lot of us, Michigan, Ohio, India, we're getting some heat here. So, and it's true, look at your weather. For those of us right here, got a heat wave coming, and I'm dead serious. And we're going to be in the upper 40s and stuff this week. So we might have rain, but we're going to have, we're going to see the grass again. It might still look dead, but we're going to have a heat wave. So let's prepare for that. So even though the groundhog said 6 more weeks of winter, but we're going to see a little bit of a change right now. So Margaret, have a good one. Debbie, have a good one. That's right. Carry the sun. Yep. Yeah, it's sunny out there now. I can just see through the window a little bit, but yeah, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for hanging out, and it's always special to see you guys, and thank you for all the comments. And so yeah, let's make the best of make the best, and have a wonderful weekend. So thank you. So you guys have been watching the Mid-Morning Medium Chat with Adam the Black Swamp Medium. We will see you again very soon. Watch for posts, watch for whatever. It's going to happen. So all my love, light, and peace to each and every single one of you. And I will see you guys